Okay, so um, this is going to be an interesting stream, to say the least. So I have to do some adjustments and things like that to my actual the way that I'm doing things. Never really done a development stream before, so we're gonna learn together. So just to give you some examples of what we're going to be doing today, I need to actually add a source here because it will never capture it as a game. Let's see. Display capture. Yeah. Okay. So there. We're going to go ahead and shut this off. Okay. Woo, what did you do? Oh boy, hold on. It's acting very weird. Didn't set the aspect ratio right after I moved it down. Okay, anyway. Just to give a little bit of show and tell. This is something that I did when we were in college. It's pretty rough. It's nothing super special, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into this. This took us I'm wanting to say 3 months to build. Yeah, I want to say about 3 months to build. And it wasn't exactly hard, but it wasn't really easy. So hopefully this doesn't come through. What's going on? You know what? Probably would help if I actually turn my damn headset on. Okay. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Yeah, so this is not going to be a super like educational, but just to kind of give you a glimpse of, aside from doing all of this, which is all of the objects within the scene, placing objects is its own thing. So that we'll get into later, but this is more of like what we're going to be seeing a lot of. So there's a lot in this one. This is the full player controller, and yeah, it's a lot. So the way that I'm going to kind of structure this is that we're going to take a look at a video game, and then we're going to take that idea and we're going to, or that game, and we're going to reconstruct specific aspects of it that we want to include in our own. Currently, right now, I've got a game in the back of my mind, or currently on my desktop, that's codenamed Counterspell. I can't really get too much into the details about the story behind it yet, but just know it is going to be a first person with third person options. It's going to be fully 3D, and it's going to be a first person shooter, third person shooter. So, but if you play this scene, I don't know if it'll break or not, because again, I don't know if I have all the files. I also haven't done any of the stuff to get the unlocks that you need to play. But let's see here. Just go to beginning scene. All right. So this is just a quick little snap of like what we created. Okay. I don't actually remember how to attack or anything. attack. Oh, that don't matter. Been a while since I played. There we go. Oh, why did we do that? But yeah, this is kind of what we're going to be doing. I mean, obviously, this doesn't look fantastic. But we made a, you know, 2D side-scrolling game similar to, the way Hollow Knight plays. I honestly don't remember how to use any of the controls. But yeah, this is what we ended up doing. We had some issues with this one, but yeah, we got it done. We actually ended up getting a pretty good grade on it. Aside from the, oh shit. Like, as you can see, it's like the AI acts a little funny. We got flying enemies that do weird shit. I'm about to die because I've played in so long. Yeah, these guys take 2 hits now. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun little game, but it's nothing super hard. But yeah, anyway. So we're going to take the same idea. We pulled a lot of inspiration from Hollow Knight from this one. So we're going to take that same idea and we're going to reconstruct something into our own game. For a lot of the development, there's going to be absolutely no art. So while I say it looks pretty, it's not really pretty. If we had a full art team to go in and design everything, it would have been a little different, but we used basically just simple stuff, and then we had one guy that was doing like asset creation. So if you look at, I say we because it wasn't just me that developed. It was 5 or 6 of us. So let me see. See if I can actually find one really quick. Yeah, so like, if it'll actually open it. But yeah, as you can see, it's like that's the actual asset itself. And then, well, it's not letting me actually. Here, let me just. So it's like, as you can see, it's like, as it went through, it actually got colored and everything. And then these are just textures. It's nothing special, nothing matched. So, but like the people, like that's a full rendered character that we put together. The art guy was actually really good on this one. So, but yeah, as you can see, it's, I don't want that. As you can see, it's been fully done up, and it's really nice. So, anyway, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I just don't know how really fully to structure it, so I think we're just gonna start off with figuring out what we're gonna do as far as games we're gonna model up. Yeah. It's going to be a whole lot of if statements, if else statements, and then what to do if that statement is true. And yeah. So, we're going to have to generate a game manager and all kinds of stuff. So, with that being said, I have quite a bit of games. And I think for this first one, we're going to actually model the gunplay for Counterspell. I think we're going to honestly use something along the lines of either Hunt Showdown or we're going to use Marauders. Because I like the way the gunplay is both of those. Marauders is a little bit more rudimentary. Somebody suggested Halo. We could do Halo, but again, Halo is, they specifically referred to Halo 2. So Halo 2 is one of those games that's it's got very simple gunplay. It actually stayed consistent pretty much all the way through Halo 1, 2, and 3, and Infinite, and all of them, really. No ADS, just aim down, or just run around and shoot things. For the first one, and the second one added ADS, so we can work on that. But oh, come on. I clicked up at the top. Let's see. Let's just go ahead and start by creating a I don't really fully want a template. Just kind of want a 3D. I mean, that's a sample scene, but actually don't want that in there. Sorry, I'm setting up the pathing. So I do have music playing in the background. If you guys have a specific type that you want to listen to, just let me know. All right. And create that really quick. Yeah. Actually, seems like my music broke. There we go. All right, like I said, if you guys want a specific style of music, let me know. and we'll get that done. All right, so this is what you get for your basic scene. You got your movements. You look around, move, select, which it does come with a camera, but we'll probably be adjusting all of that. So if we wanted a new 3D object, we wanted a cube, for instance, we could, actually, I need to go to, actually, what am I doing? We're supposed to be doing the research and the breakdown of the mechanics first. I'm not supposed to be building anything. Alright. Sure. That's fine. Okay. So let's get into some Marauders really quick, and we'll actually start taking some notes on how the guns act and everything like that. So we're probably going to end up dying and losing a lot of stuff, but it's fine. It's whatever. Sadly, I don't have access to the easy anti-cheat. Might not like the fact that I have Visual Studios open.
And forced humanity into the cold.
Did you die? Okay. Go away. Thank you. Alright. So let's look at how the guns handle. Been playing a lot of Tarkov, and boy oh boy. Why is that upside down? Whatever. Anyway. I mean, I guess we could just run in naked and get a feel for the movement. So this will be the first person aspect of it. And I think for the third person, we're going to kind of take from the Division 2, or maybe even Dead Space. I think maybe Dead Space, because Dead Space does actually do really well with third person stuff, and I actually really like the game. So but if you've ever played a game wherever you're sitting there and you look down or you look up, it was because the game itself was built as a third person game, and then they moved the camera to be, sorry, if you've ever looked down or up and you've ever seen the eyeballs of the character, the model or whatever, it's because the game wasn't actually developed as a first person shooter. Most first person shooters are developed where the actual body doesn't have a head. If you ever look down and don't see your feet, again, it's because the way that the game was built. Now, to get your like full model, obviously that's entirely up to you. If you want to make it to where everybody else can see a body, but you can't, then there's some other things that need to go into play there. But for all intents and purposes, we're going to use a third person setup where you have a full body, and then we're going to just jam a camera into his face. The easiest way to explain it. So the movement on this one is actually pretty simple. It doesn't really have too much bob or sway. So if we actually go into the options really quick. Gameplay, there we go. Literally only just English, okay. Alright, so yeah, we won't be doing any motion blur either, because motion blur is disgusting. I mean, some people like it, but generated motion blur is not something that you need because your brain automatically does it. It's supposed to be an immersive setup where you can actually go in and like, because whenever you move your head, it blurs things, and that's motion blur. Simulated motion blur just gives me a headache. And so I won't be trying to generate motion blur. But as far as like the equipping and unequipping of gear, I don't know how far we'll get into that because I'm not wanting to make it a high stakes PvP. Could be pretty interesting to say the least, but But first things first, let's get into a raid and I'll kind of explain some of the things that I'm looking at. Because there's a lot of things that go into actually recreating. And I actually probably ought to have a notepad. Bob is literally just generated from the camera. The physical character model really doesn't bob all that much. I mean, the animation itself of you walking and going through your state machine and everything like that, it does. But I don't think I don't. Yeah. Whenever you said it, you might generate way too much bob and your character going like this. You'd be walking around like you're limp necked and all kinds of weird stuff, and it just makes everything. So you have to be careful with it. All right. So there's like a little bit of bob. So your actual movement, like you can see I have my full body, but your actual movement is like there's a little bit of bob. It's just a little bit of do 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 do. There's not really any side to side unless you're leaning, which again, that's a fixed camera angle or a fixed camera that's attached to the head of the player. As far as the bob itself goes, we'll have to figure out the animation point. So it looks like they fully attach the camera to the player itself rather than having a floating camera. So I mean, I'm not gonna be going into raid. I'm not gonna constantly lose stuff over and over again. I don't have anything to lose. I'm literally a naked player. I could go in and loot a body, but that's not what we're here for. The hell is the extract? Oh, cool. The Red Baron's here. I'm going to die. The one time I'm not actually wanting to play the game, the Red Baron is chilling. That's cool. Anyway, but yeah. So we have a simple, very simple movement to reconstruct. As far as like the guns and everything goes, it's going to be kind of hard for me to do all the guns, but I think we'll just create a gun and then we'll expand from there. We're not going to do the damage output of each gun. We're not going to do any of that. We're going to have a base and then we'll balance based off of what type of gun it is. So if it's a shotgun, it'll have multiple, BBs, and I believe that this one doesn't use ray tracing, but it does use physical object for its projectiles, if I am correct. But it's actually pretty simple movement. But I forgot I need to add Pro Builder and everything else to my actual Unity. So and I never remember how to. Not gonna lie. All right. So simple movement. It's literally just forward and back and then tilt. The only time that it gets really weird, and it's really not even that bad, is whenever you're sprinting, he does duck down a little bit, which again is all part of the animation. So oh, okay. I was in the right area, just looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so if we go in with a... Actually, I don't know why I just didn't do it there. Kind of stupid, to be honest. Because I could have just grabbed a gun and done it with that. We'll just work with the pistol for now. How many times I'm resetting this game, I'll probably level up a couple times. So, slight little bob up and down. And then we'll try to replicate that within the actual animation as well. So the problem with doing it with, PvP games is I have to run in and I have to actually survive and take notes while I'm doing this. So, but we're going to start with the basics and we're going to work our way up. So let me just go ahead and open up my notepad. Boop. And then we will go movement. Walking. Let's see. Slight bob. Up and down. I didn't see any left and right. If you see anything different, let me know. Slight bob up and down. Slower movement. Okay. So it's not a very fast. Actually, he doesn't go up or down at all. It's just the bob gets a little quicker. Okay. While sprinting, slight faster bob. But if you notice, it's not so much the player is moving up and down. It's just the outside, so the mask or whatever. All right. So, guns. So the animation itself, whenever he's resting or not doing anything, is kind of like just a nice little leisure, back and forth, like in and out motion. So it's like a breathing motion. So holding gun, we're going to go ahead and say that it's a breathing motion. So and all right. So it's like you notice that like the mask itself is breathing. So if I were to actually throw this on the ground, even the mask while standing with nothing has a breathe. So so we'll add that to the notes. So this is, and I know it's going to sound really shitty, but this is really how a lot of games are built. Because code itself is intellectual property, you cannot take somebody else's code and use it. So I can't go in and be like, cool, let me just get the source code for this and just put it in my game, because that would be the theft of intellectual property. So we're actually just taking what we see as far as like the animation and everything goes, because all of this is generated from animation. It's not generated from code. But so they'll take this idea and they'll look at it, examine it, break it down, and then they'll take it and they'll go, cool, this is what I'm seeing, and then they'll try to replicate it using their own code. And then that avoids the intellectual property. So I really like the gameplay or the gunplay on this. You know what I mean? So I really like how it feels. It feels good. It looks good. And then let's see. So while sprinting, the gun is where that one, the gun lifting up where he goes like this. That is actually part of code. So it's part of the state machine to go, okay, cool, you're in sprinting now because your character has hit a certain velocity. Again, I'm surprised I haven't been shot yet. Okay, so aiming is all in mouse, so it's pretty, simple. And then you got ADS, which is right click, which is pulling the gun to the center. So ADS pulls gun to the center. And then actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I could actually just keep the music going, because I'm just gonna be doing a lot of talking, and it's kind of boring not listening to anything. All right, so pulls gun to center and lifts it slightly. So whenever we start working in the animation stuff, I'll know that we'll have to pull the gun up a little bit and pull it down to the center. Moving while side to side while in ADS. It actually moves the gun. So while you're in ADS, like, you can lean Q and E. But if you actually notice, like, the center of the reticle, it moves left and right depending on what direction you're moving. And if you do it sharply, it's more drastic, if that makes any sense. So while in ADS, moving, I'm in caps lock. Moving side to side causes, thinking of the word here, displacement of front sight. So that's actually, like, it's called deviating. So it's actually happens to a lot of people in real life, was when they deviate the barrel to kind of match what direction they're moving. So it's actually something that you can train out of yourself. Again, that's all coming from the gun being a physical object. So it all has weight, so you can feel it, bouncing around. Let's see. So, let's see. While walking, the gun bounces back and forth to match natural walking rhythm. So if you don't know, you have a natural walking rhythm. Most people, it's opposites, because your body wants balance. So whenever you take a step with your left foot, your right hand goes out. Whenever you're holding something, your body naturally does the motion, so you bounce back and forth. So that's your natural walking rhythm. So it's like, I guess you can see, it's like his natural walking rhythm is this, if he had, back and forth, which is completely natural. So, and this is just all the movement stuff. This has nothing to do with anything dealing with actually shooting. Actually, while holding the gun, the bob is really in the hands only. So the mask bob really goes away. Again, I might not have a mask bob, but you can still do the same thing. So it's like the person becomes cemented. Whereas without, you can see it more pronounced. Okay. And actually, when he's holding the gun, he's shorter. So he crouches down while he's holding the gun. Slightly crouches. But yes, this is actually something that is used a lot in game development, as from bigger studios and things like that. They'll take this concept and they'll be like, okay, cool, I want to know how this game plays, and I want to use that idea, and I want to recreate it, build it into something. So it's like, everybody gives shit to Todd Howard or Bethesda or anything like that for the Elder Scrolls series or Fallout being, repetitive or the same thing over and over again, but it's because they have a proven system that works. If everybody wanted to make Fallout or Elder Scrolls Online or Elder Scrolls in general, they could just by doing the same thing that we're doing. So, but yeah, simple things like that, like the slight crouch, it's not exactly needed, but it does make sense because you're going to be kind of hunched over and you're going to be kind of holding the gun. So, but as far as movement speed, it's kind of hard to tell. We'll just have to tweak the actual velocities and things like that as we go. So, yeah. So the movement speed is going to be a little tricky to actually get down. But as far as Q and E, you can lean in both everything, and it actually looks like it's about a I'd probably say about a 10-degree lean each way, roughly. Is it more pronounced with the gun? Ooh, no, it's way less pronounced. That's more like a, yeah, we'll figure it out, but you can lean. It's probably about a 10-degree lean both ways. Approximately a 10-degree lean. And that's the same for just no gun. If you guys are wondering, this is what my notes look like. They're very simple, very easy. Walking, no gun. I'm actually going to specify. Holding a gun, no gun. Again, approximately a not 210-degree lean, 10-degree lean using Q and E. All right. So, I've actually been doing this for 15 minutes now. Okay, well, let's pull out and reset really quick. No, I'm right by the extract. You know, I'm surprised I haven't died. Literally just sitting there running around in my ship. But this is kind of the process itself for how we're going to be rebuilding the actual mechanics, because I can't run around in a simulated area. A lot of times whenever they're doing development of a game, they'll have what people have actually found in Fallout 76. There we go. I had to think of what number it was. But in Fallout 76, they actually found it, and people are getting banned for it. But it was the whole developers area where they have everything unlocked and everything is like a giant cheat code. And when you find that area, you have access to everything. Only simply because that's a way for the developer to go in and test something if they add something new to make sure it doesn't break anything else. So I call it the developer's playground. So, but people actually found a way to get into it, which was weird. There's ways to prevent that. I don't know why they didn't do it, but they actually put it in the actual physical game. So it's, I don't know why they were banning for it. All right. So to recap, we have the movement walking with no gun. You have a slight bob up and down, slower movement. I mean, that's kind of true for both with and without a gun. If you're not sprinting, it is a slower movement. And then while sprinting, you have a faster little bob, or more frequent. and then you're standing still, slightly breathing motion, and then you have an approximately a 10-degree lean left and right. That's like the simplest part of the entire movement. Getting all of that in is going to rely heavily on how the actual animation plays, because the camera is going to be fixed to that specific area. So it's going to be a child of the actual player. It's not going to be... I'm trying to figure out... it's going to be a child of the actual player. So... but as far as like the movement, walking, holding the gun, you got a breathing motion in the hands and mask. So it's the mask is moving and then the hands are, moving up and down. Natural rhythm of the body. While sprinting, the gun is lifted after a slight delay and a certain velocity has been reached. So once the player gets up to full sprint, they pull the gun up and then they, run around. The sprint is not super fast, but it is fast enough. ADS pulls the gun to the center and lifts it slightly. So instead of being down here, it goes up here. Again, pretty simple stuff. Moving side to side while in ADS causes a displacement in the front sight, so your back sight is going to stay steady because so the way that a human naturally holds a gun is they'll pull it up like this, and then your front sight will move more than your back sight because it's more on the center of where you're holding the gun. And yes, I just pulled a gun up to kind of explain that. Let's see. And then continuing on while walking, the gun bounces back and forth to match the natural walking rhythm. So your natural walking rhythm, again, is you step off with your left foot, you're going to get the actual, like, the natural motion of I step with my left, my right goes up. I step with my right, my left goes up. You know what I mean? So, and then your mask bob kind of goes away whenever you're holding a gun because you're kind of more stable. So you're not going to do this as much. Whereas when you're naturally relaxed, you're going to be a little bit more fluid. And then see, slightly crouches whenever you pick up the gun, so that I don't know if I'm going to incorporate that because, I mean, it's not really needed, but it does kind of make sense because you pull up the gun and you're like this. So if you're holding the gun out in front of you, you're not going to be standing straight up holding a gun. You're going to kind of slouch a little bit because that's just, you're pulling your whole body forward, so it pushes the rest of your body down. And then, approximately a 10-degree lean left and right with U&E. Pretty simple. Let's see. We actually need to get into some gunplay because I'm trying to figure out if it's actually a physical item or if it's using ray tracing. Because ray tracing and physical bullet item is different. So the only way that I know that we can actually determine that, and there is ways to do it in ray tracing, it's just a little harder. Is we actually need to change how we need to see if there's bullet drop. The only way I know to do that safely is inside the ship, but if we do it inside the ship, it's not too bad. All right, so let's just go here. All right, so close range shot. It hit right where I was aiming, so right there. Okay, and then if we do a long range shot with a pistol, okay, it doesn't look like there's actually any bullet damage. So, or bullet drop, but then again, I might not be far enough for the actual bullet drop to take effect. Let's aim right there. Yeah, that's hitting exactly where I'm aiming. So it's the bullet drop on a pistol is way higher. So, yeah, it's hitting exactly where I'm aiming. So, again, your bullet drop will increase or decrease depending. And the mag doesn't have any physical bullets in it. So, again, that could all be animation-based stuff. Another pistol, why not? That could all be animation-based stuff, but it seems like it's actually using ray tracing. Actually. Weird. Okay, so the player does actually kick back a little bit, but not a lot. So if you actually watch the gun walk or the recoil walk, just do it right here. Just start aiming at this ribbon. As you shoot more, as you can see, it gets a little bit more spaced. So the faster that you shoot, the more it's going to go, which is normal for real life. So, see what I mean? But if you give yourself a second to, I'm not doing any mouse input other than clicking, by the way. It does reset back, kind of. It does move you up regardless, but it does reset you, kind of. So, oh no, I'm down to 22 rounds. Okay. Anyway, again, basic gunplay. So you shoot, and it kicks you up a little bit. Actually, a lot of people in... Oh, that one doesn't have any bullet holes. Anyway. A lot of people have trouble with recoil control in games, and that's why. Because it reacts like a real gun. But I think there's actually an extract over here. After this, we are going to run some just regular raids. And I'll take notes on some things on, like, how things activate and react and things like that. Like, because while you're walking around, you don't notice these things unless you're actually specifically looking for them. But, you know, this is day one. We'll give it a test, and if nobody really likes what I'm doing right now, then that's fine. We'll just move on to a different one. I'll take notes, and I'll play a game for an entire month, and I'll do my research and stuff offline. And we will move to something different. And then I'll just move into the development. So... But me explaining myself is showing you what my thought process is. Okay, so so shooting is kind of normal across the board. Small calibers give light recoil, but so the small guns give a light recoil. Faster you shoot, greater the recoil. Arms and mask move back slightly. Due to the recoil. So they actually did play the actual human reaction to impact. So it's not... Oh yeah, I looted 2 items. Look at that. So I think the way that we're going to kind of structure this is I'm going to break down one of the mechanics every day. And then we're going to play regular game. And then I'm going to come back the next day and we'll be like, okay, cool. After yesterday, we learned all this about the walking, the shooting, and everything like that. Which, again, simply is basically what it is. That's really all we need from this game. As far as like the damage outputs and how you react to getting shot, things like that, that's not really entirely necessary. The biggest system that we're going to have to figure out which one we're going to kind of replicate is going to be like the inventory system, how the menuing works, how the game reacts whenever you do pause, which obviously online games you can't actually pause the game. So, but yeah. That kind of breaks down how the actual general walking move or works with this game. That's kind of what we're going to replicate whenever we come into actually building the mechanics again. So instead of, maybe for us, I don't really care too much about the mask bob. I would rather make it a full camera bob so it simulates your actual walking, because nobody walks perfectly straight up and down. But the mask bob is what they're doing, but the physical character itself doesn't move up and down. I might remove the deviation in the actual front sight whenever you're aiming. Maybe. I don't know, but that's things that we'll figure out whenever we go to actually building the full animation. The velocities and things at which the person actually moves is going to be a little different. We're going to have to figure out how we're going to push that forward, and we're going to have to just play with it and see what we like and where it sits. So figuring out the physical numbers is going to just be entirely on us. And they might be a little different, or they might be a little higher or lower depending on what we are going for. Yeah, I think we're gonna leave the movement there because it's a pretty simple movement scheme. So we're gonna just probably go in and just play a little bit. As far as like interacting with AI and stuff like that, the AI studies is going to be a little difficult because AI in this one, I believe uses a, I believe they use a nav mesh, and they have just basically a proximity of alert. So the sound and everything else we'll have to deal with as well. This one doesn't have very good vertical sound, it has really good horizontal. So you can hear things on your left and right really well, but you can't hear things above and below really well. It's been a common complaint a lot across many places. Like Escape from Tarkov has that issue pretty bad. So, but the walking, pretty simple. We can get that down. I'm gonna have to actually go through and actually set up my Unity because I'm a bad prepper and I didn't actually get like the Pro Builder and everything else in that I need. But whenever we actually start coding, it's going to be very gray box. There's not going to be any pretty cosmetics like this and things like that. So, but yeah, that's basically how we're looking for the movement. As far as breaking down the rest of the mechanics, it's going to be like the guns. I don't know if we're going to fully use all the guns from this game because some of them are pretty boo-boo. Like, why are you being dumb? Give me my pictures back. Anyway, so like the M45K, that thing's a laser beam. So thing is an absolute laser beam. It has absolutely no recoil, and it can absolutely kill anybody. It's ridiculous. The damage output for 9mm should not be that high. Whereas the K1 Assault shooting 5.56 or the STG-44 shooting 7.62 penetrates armor less, in my opinion. So, again, that's why I said we're probably not going to use too much of the actual guns from Marauders, but we will be doing something with that. So, I'm going to do these short little segments rather than full 6-hour-long streams until we get to the development. I'm going to do like an hour at the beginning of the stream where I literally dedicate it to breaking down a mechanic. So, this is what we have so far, which I'm not going to make that full screen, but this is what we have so far. This is how we're looking for the actual movement and the simple shooting mechanics. We're not going super in depth. So I will be back in approximately 10 minutes with just a really good regular gameplay live stream. And then all of these VODs will be downloaded and put up onto my YouTube. So if you want to watch it in the back on how we actually break down the mechanic, feel free. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very shortly. Bye-bye for now.